Hey guys, I'm Gareth from Fueled by Success. So in today's video, we're going to talk about retail arbitrage. Now, it doesn't matter whether you're a beginner or an established seller. Hopefully there's going to be something that you can both take away. So from an established side of things, I'm hoping to be able to explain to you why I still use retail arbitrage in my business to this day. And I'm into wholesale and online arbitrage as well. If you're a beginner, I'm hoping that in this video, I'm going to show to you why retail arbitrage is the way to start. It's the way I began my business, and it's the way that I strongly recommend anybody who wants to get started in Amazon, learns the ropes by. So without further ado, let's get into it. What is retail arbitrage? Now, retail arbitrage in a nutshell is basically going to one marketplace, buying a product and selling it on a different marketplace for more money and making you a profit. So in this scenario, it's going to a local shop or store, trying to find products, scanning them, putting in the title of the product. I'm talking from an Amazon perspective because that's how we use retail arbitrage. And in this video, it's going to be talking from an Amazon perspective, just so you're aware. But basically, we'll go into a store, we'll find products by scanning the items. There's lots of different apps out there that you can utilize. The one I tend to use is just the Seller Central app, the official Amazon Seller Central app. In that app, it'll tell you things such as like when you scan a product via the barcode, it'll tell you things such as like the best sellers rank, what that item is placed at on Amazon. So everything on Amazon has a best sellers rank, which basically just tells you, how well that item is selling on Amazon. It'll also show you who's selling that item on Amazon. So it'll show you whether Amazon's selling that particular item or whether it's a fulfilled by Amazon seller, which means that they purchase the products, send it into Amazon, who then store it, and then when you make a sale, they will box it and ship it to that customer on your behalf. They do take fees for that, which obviously in the app it also tells you all about as well. So you need to work out your profit with those fees taken off as well. It'll also tell you that if the seller is a self-fulfilled seller, which means they don't send it to Amazon, they do it all from themselves. So when the sale happens, they will ship it themselves and sort it all, from themselves basically. Now that makes a difference though to how you will approach that particular item when you're scanning the items in the store. So if it's a fulfilled by Amazon seller, then you're going to have to match that seller for their prices basically. You don't really, there's a lot of sellers which get into penny battles and things like that, but that's for another video. Personally, I would always recommend just to match, because at the end of the day, we all want to make a profit. So, doing the penny battles just is a fast way to everybody losing their profit on any particular item. So that's just my take on that. As an alternative, the self-fulfilled sellers, they may just have the price without the delivery cost on, but then you can also match their delivery cost as well as just their sales price. That's one advantage of being an FBA seller. You can potentially even go up to £1 above that particular seller and still get the buy box, which the buy box is basically the shop window on Amazon. It's your product in that shop window. So then when somebody comes to buy, if they're not an Amazon seller, they wouldn't even really notice. But when they click that buy button, if you're in the shop window, then it means it's your products which is going to be getting purchased. And that's what we want. You want to be in the shop window basically. But yeah, so in a nutshell, that's retail arbitrage. You can enter in the product's name by its title, or you can scan the barcode to find the items. There's no real quick way of finding the items either. You're gonna have to scan things. It's the best and easiest way to do it. But it's also a great way to learn your craft with Amazon, because, it's just going into a shop and scanning items. That's all you have to do to see if you're going to make a profit. It all started for me just doing your daily shop. You might be going out, doing your shop for the family or whatever it may be. And when you're in that store, have a cheeky scan. Just see if you can maybe even pay for your shopping. It's a great option to do. But that's, how it all started, and it snowballs from there, guys. So if you've watched one or two of my videos in the past, you may have seen that I've talked about this subject in previous videos, but I wanted to go a little bit more in depth about it really. So I started in retail arbitrage. That's what got me out of the 9-to-5 job. That's what got me out of doing the day-to-day normal jobs that everybody does. So retail arbitrage was a great find for me to come up on. Most people talk nowadays about online arbitrage and wholesale, which are two fantastic business models when it comes to anything to do with like Amazon, eBay, and so on and so forth, of course, as well. But if you listen to most people's stories, they'll tell you how they started in, retail arbitrage in a lot of the times. So I thought I'd go a little bit more in detail about how retail arbitrage works and why we still use it in our business to this day to supplement the business. So to kick things off, a lot of people have talked about online arbitrage and they'll tell you all about it. And they'll sometimes tell you why they wouldn't do retail arbitrage anymore, as an example. But I wanted to start by telling you some of the advantages of doing retail arbitrage, or RA. If you've not heard of that, RA before, it's just an abbreviation for retail arbitrage. So one is the stock, as an example. Most people selling on online arbitrage will find products. You might come across certain stores, you find a great deal, you order those deals because you think to yourself, wow, this is going to be fantastic, I'm going to make such and such profit, and then it takes maybe 5 days to come on a free delivery, as an example. So you think to yourself, well, I might get it to come a little bit quicker because I want this stock and to get it in and out. 5 days from now somebody else might have beaten me to the punch, so you pay for a quicker delivery. But then so has everybody else. Everybody else has also found those products as well. Now, with retail arbitrage, it's exactly the same thing. People may come across these options. The great thing about retail arbitrage, though, is sometimes you'll find different products to what everybody else is getting from an online arbitrage sense. And what I mean by this is, when you go into the stores and you're scanning items, you may come across clearance items. Now, I used to come from a retail background. I used to be part of the management team at a store, and from the knowledge of working in a retail environment, I know that a lot of things will be put onto the website, which is absolutely fantastic. Everything's on there. But sometimes when things have gone clearance, they might go clearance on the website for a little while, but then after that, they'll actually drop down and onto into the stores, if they've got a store, as an example, and they'll clear the items out of the store because they want to keep that website looking fresh and new and all the brand new items on there. So they drop back into the stores, and then that's where people that are doing retail arbitrage will sometimes pick up those great deals because they'll get reduced to sell through, which you may come across. So that's one reason. Different other ones is like things such as like, we've talked about clearance lines on there. So some things might be a clearance line for a store, but not the actual company. So on the website, the item might be still at full price, but in a particular store, they may have cleared these lines down because in that store, they're not actually going to keep that particular line because it might not be a mega store, it might be, such and such store. So they're going to clear those lines through. So the manager may reduce those lines. So to everybody else who's doing it online and only doing online, they may only be able to get those products at the full price. Whereas if you was in store at that particular store and you was using your retail arbitrage, then you may have found that those items are a little bit cheaper, as another example. Okay, so time. Time is another factor with retail arbitrage. Now, some people may use it as a negative to retail arbitrage. The time it takes you to go out, scan items, find items, rather than being sat at a laptop, doing your online arbitrage as an example. But as you get used to doing retail arbitrage, you become faster. And I've talked about that earlier in the video. But you start to get an eye for items as well. So at the beginning, definitely scan as much as you can. And to an extent, I should still probably scan more than I do. But you do start to get especially when you're frequenting the same stores in your local vicinity, you start to get an eye for the certain products or brands or so on and so forth that you're looking for. And, that really helps you to, get quicker at it. It may be that, like myself, we do a lot of, with Retail Arbitrage, we do a lot of replenishment. So we've already established the lines that we like from a lot of the retail side of things and what works for us. So we'll replenish those lines now. Whereas at the beginning, that was the sole, that was the only product source coming in was the retail finds. But as we've progressed, we've added online arbitrage and wholesale, like we've mentioned previously in the video. But I do think, even to this day, if you're a beginner, retail arbitrage is one of the easiest ways to get up and started. It doesn't take a great deal of money to invest. You can go out with maybe £100 and you could come away with some fantastic finds to get you started. Just keep reinvesting that money and it'll grow. And it's the same, with any other platform that you chose. But I think it's a great platform for beginners. If you're already doing online arbitrage, let's state for this option, then retail arbitrage is just going to add another string of revenue to your business. You're going to be able to go out there and potentially get some clearance items that you might not be able to find online and get those great prices. And that might be the difference where you sometimes think, well, how are they selling it at that price, but I can only get it at this price? It might be because they've got it from a clearance line from a store. Now, I think I might have mentioned it earlier in the video as well, but some stores clear the lines, but not necessarily the company. So it might be that that particular store local to you or within a local vicinity may be clearing that particular product from their store, but not from the rest of the company stores, because different stores get upgraded and downgraded in sizes. There might be a mega store, there might not be. And obviously mega stores are going to carry different lines to, lower stores below them. But I think that's also an option you've got to take into factor. And that could be the difference between you getting it £5 cheaper or £5 more expensive. But again, only another option to add to your string of revenue. At the very beginning, yes, it may take you a little bit longer to get used to scanning and going around the stores. You may be a bit nervous the very first time you go into a store and, you're scanning these items. But I can assure you that as you get used to it, you become quicker, and you'll find these products quite quickly by scanning through a couple of lines in the store. And I also assure you that not everybody is looking at you. That's something that you do begin to feel at the beginning, but nobody's really bothered about what you're doing at the end of the day. You find those products and they'll make you a profit. You'll be walking away very happy at the end of the day. So that's another reason why. So you can walk into these stores, you can scan the products, and you can find them, those products on the very same day. You're taking them home. You're not having to wait for a delivery time. You're not having to pay for delivery. It's just your petrol to get there, and then you can, pile up your trolley, take them into the car, and away you go. So that's another reason why I like retail arbitrage. The easiness is the other version of it, basically. So, to be able, all you need to be able to start retail arbitrage today is to open, in the case that I would recommend is through Amazon. So if you opened an Amazon selling account, you may already have an Amazon buying account, but if you open an Amazon selling account, that's what you'll need. You can then download the Seller Central app through, Google Play Store or the Apple Store, so on and so forth. You just need to download that onto your phone and away you go, basically. You walk into your local store and you scan the items. To begin with, as a beginner, I'd recommend, you scan as much as you can, because you'll be surprised when you come across the winners, that they're in there, basically. When you're looking at the products, a lot of people can get, too complicated with things where they'll look through items and try to find that winner. But, without actually scanning everything. But just scan the items. It's as simple as that. The app will then tell you what profit you're going to make. You put in your buying costs and away you go. The 3 times rule for, Fueled by Success is, take your selling price, take your fees into account from Amazon FBA and your cost of your item, and that equals your profit at the end of the day. It's as easy as that, basically. But going out there and actually doing it is yes, it's going to take your time at the beginning, but Now, you know, we can go out and in an hour, you know, we could have maybe have spent upwards of £800 just by going out and doing a quick shop from a retail arbitrage prospect. Okay guys, so you're ready for your first retail arbitrage run. The very first day that you go out and do it, maybe you're a beginner as an example, or you may be an established OA seller, etc. You know, that first time you go out and try a retail arbitrage run, it's bound to be a little bit scary. You might be a little bit nervous. You might not be the quickest on that particular, you know, first 2, 3, 4 occasions that you go out. And you might think to yourself, flipping it, you know, this takes quite a little while to get used to. But stick with it. That's the key, guys. You've got to stick with it. When you go into the store, scan those items at the end of the day. As a beginner, scan everything. You just don't know what you could be leaving behind when that little green profit margin pops up on the screen and then you found that winner. So, you know, keep with it to begin with and just scan everything. As things progress, yes, you might start to get a bit of an eye for it. If you're frequenting the same store over and over again, then yes, you know, you're going to have a bit of an eye of the certain things that you're looking for in those stores. But even to this day, I'm still guilty of not scanning enough now. At the very beginning, I scanned everything, and I still probably should, but now we have a lot of replenishment that we go in for, and sometimes, you know, I'm a bit guilty of not scanning everything, but scan it all, because that's the best advice I can give to you, because, you know, you will come across those profitable items, and every now and then we do a bit of an in-depth scan. It's still within the business model that we run, because we use now retail arbitrage to supplement our online arbitrage business and our wholesale business. At the beginning, like I said, it was just retail arbitrage. That's all we did at the very beginning. And that's what got me out the 9 to 5, guys. You know, that's what got me out of my normal job working for somebody else. And that's why I'm now sat in a 3,000 square foot warehouse recording this video for you. But that was the nucleus of how I started. And we still use that very same, rules still within the business to this day, because again, it's a stream of revenue that I'm not prepared to give up while it's still making profit for me. But yeah, so scan everything. Number 2 is not everybody is looking at you. You know, you may be worried, you're scanning around, you're looking a bit sheepish yourself because you found that product and you think to yourself, oh wow, you know, is everybody looking at me? They're not looking at you guys. Don't worry about it. You might get the odd person thinking, wow, what's he doing? But then they might have heard or watched a video exactly the same thinking, wow, he's actually doing it. So you might be inspiring them to start. So don't worry about scanning in front of people, you know. At the end of the day, it's you that's going to be happy when you walk out that store with all these profitable items in your trolley at the end of the day. So keep scanning. Don't make assumptions. That's the other thing. So I've already touched on it slightly a minute ago, but don't make assumptions of what's good and what's bad. Scan. That will tell you what is good and what is bad. If you make the assumptions, you could be losing out on something that could be absolutely fantastic. And I'm guilty of doing that myself, you know. Over times, I used to scan everything. Now it's a case of like every now and then we'll have an in-depth scan. When we do that in-depth scan, we'll find new products that we should have been selling ages ago, but that's because we took assumptions. Don't assume. It makes an ass of you and me, so don't do it. But, you know, that's another tip, guys, for that side of things. Okay guys, so rapport. Rapport is a really important factor when it comes to retail arbitrage, in my eyes, just like it would be with your wholesale side of the business. So when it comes to rapport with store managers or store colleagues, as an example, I think that's a really good thing to build, because they're going to have questions, or they're going to see you coming in daily or weekly or whichever it may be, you know, when you're coming and going all the time. And it's just human nature, you know, they just want to see what you're up to. So if you don't feel comfortable saying something like, you know, you're doing a retail arbitrage business, then you could say, for instance, that you make hampers as an example. There's lots of different ones over time. You know, I'm quite comfortable to talk to people now in that context. But, you know, by building that rapport, that's really helped my retail arbitrage business flourish, because now those managers will potentially order me stock and put it to one side for me, because sometimes they don't always want their shelves cleared, as an example. They want to still have stock on the shelves for other customers. So sometimes by building that rapport, they will put stock to one side for you so they can still have stock on the shelves for other customers, and then they'll get you larger quantities. You've got to remember, a lot of these store managers and stores, as an example, they still have targets. I came from a retail background myself. I was part of the management team before I started doing, the Amazon side of things. And, I know that we had targets that, you want to beat your week, your year on year, and so on and so forth, sales targets. And, it's the same with clearance. When they've got clearance in store, they're targeted to get rid of that clearance as quickly as possible to a large extent. So, they want that clearance gone. So if you come across and you find that, that's brilliant for them. And that's where you get that rapport going. But that's been a really big aspect for me with my retail side of things, and that's something I'd recommend to you all in that context. Don't be afraid to talk to them, because they could help you out quite a lot. There's a few stores now where I don't actually, because I do a lot of replenishment drives now, there's a lot of stock that I can't find in wholesalers, like I've mentioned previously in this video, or I can't find them, from an OA perspective, because the stores they have an online presence, but you can't buy online. You can only view the products online. Some of these stores are like that. And, by building that rapport, they'll now put that stock to one side for me, which means you've got access to those precious lines that you need, because especially if you can't find them from anywhere else. I mean, I'm sure they're going to be wholesalers which sell these products, but I just haven't come across them yet. So I've mentioned already, some of my key lines are still retail arbitrage lines, and that's why I can't stop doing retail arbitrage, because I couldn't replace the volume of sales that I get from these without having that retail side of things. And I'd never have found them if it hadn't been for doing that retail side as well. So, build the rapport, guys. I think it'll really help your business going forward. There's the odd one or two stores which you may come across and, they may not like it. And I feel that's more of a management side of things rather than anything else. But, I've not really come across that myself in a great detail. I can only think of one store that comes to mind, but they've closed all their stores now. Maybe that's a sign. So, a lot of stores I think will be quite willing to help you out. And most of them can still give you a VAT receipt if you require it as well, just by asking. And they're more than happy to do so. So don't be afraid, guys. Get talking. So from a beginner's perspective, I think the best thing is, it's very easy to start. If I was recommending you to start, how would I start with arbitrage again? It was so successful for me, it would be retail arbitrage. You can go out in your spare time and scan a few things in a shop and come back with some profitable items. A friend of mine never really got into doing arbitrage or anything like that, but then now he'll go to shops where he's doing his general shop, and then he might text me and say, I spotted this and I think this might be good for you. So what about if you was making money while you were spending money? So you could be going on your Sunday shop to do your supermarket sweep for you and the family, and what about if at the same time as doing that you scanned a few items and you found that these items were profitable and that paid for your week's shop on that Sunday, as an example? How good would that feel? It doesn't matter what level you want to take this to. Retail arbitrage can be from just making a bit of money on the side, or you can turn it into a really big company, pretty much where I've got to, where I'm sat talking to you from my warehouse. We moved into a 3,000 square foot warehouse, and it all started for me by using retail arbitrage as the platform. We then moved into OA and then moved into wholesale as well. And, it's been fantastic. I wouldn't give up on any one of those routes or streams, should I say, because, if they're still being profitable to me, then I'm going to use them. Of course, if I find them from a wholesale perspective now, because the company's growing and because I've been able to get the level of depth of stock now, then yeah, of course, if I could find them in that wholesaler cheaper, or even just from a stock level at the same price, then of course I'm going to get it from there. But the key is that, you know, I potentially wouldn't have found these products if I hadn't have done the retail arbitrage. There's still products to this day that I sell now that I've never found through doing wholesale or you know, online arbitrage. And I'm sure they're out there, don't get me wrong, but I've either not come across a price as competitive as the retail arbitrage proposition, or I've not been found a wholesaler that deals with that particular product. So you know, if I do, happy days, but until I do retail arbitrage, you know, if I can find it there and it's profitable, I'm going to use it, guys. Hey guys, okay, so let's try and change some negatives into a positive. So sometimes with retail arbitrage, people throw at me things such as like, you know, I want to be able to grow my company and I can't do that with retail arbitrage. So my thing to that question would be that, or my answer to that question would be, of course, you know, if you want to grow, definitely add those other streams of revenue. So, you know, retail arbitrage is just one stream, like we've talked about in the video. You know, within my company, we do retail arbitrage, wholesale, and online arbitrage. But the retail arbitrage now is more of a supplement to the wholesale, as an example. You know, and I think that's the way to go. If it's still being profitable, I'm still going to use it at the end of the day. So, you know, my question back is, why would you not keep that, you know, profitable stream there if it's available to use? Some items you can't get, or I can't find, should I say, you know, by doing wholesale or online arbitrage at this moment in time. If I find those products via wholesale, then happy days, you know, that would be fantastic. But the reason I found those products for was because I did retail arbitrage. So, you know, that's my answer to that question, guys. Another one is about so outsourcing, as an example. So some people might say to me, you know, I don't want to do retail arbitrage because I don't want to have to go to the store. I started doing online arbitrage because, you know, I can outsource everything. I've got a purchaser who does all that for me now. I don't have to do any of that anymore. So why would I want to start going out to stores, you know, scanning items, taking all my time up and so on and so forth? So my answer to that question would be, retail arbitrage can be outsourced just like your OA side of the business, as an example. So you've just mentioned already that you've got a purchaser potentially within your business who purchases your stock for you. So surely that would be the same as having a runner from within your business go out to the stores for you and purchase those products for you. They've still got your credit card details, as an example, the online arbitrage purchaser. So it's the same as giving it to somebody who's maybe working in your warehouse, which is what we do, who goes out and does those runs, you know, and purchase those products for you. Of course, you need to train them, just like you would do with an online arbitrage purchaser. You know, you need to make sure that they know, you know, what they're purchasing, and make sure, as long as they follow the criteria that you've set out for them, then you should be absolutely fine. You know, the difference between an RA purchaser and a OA purchaser is that the RA purchaser has to do the whole sort of setup within the store, but then he walks away with that stock straight away. So he's coming back with that, and you're potentially going to, you know, box it and ship it the same day, if not the next day, as an example. No delivery fees on top. You know, that's just the cost of your petrol, etc. Sending the guy out, of course, but you know, I can do an RA run now in maybe an hour, and I can spend upwards of £800,000 plus quite easily now on an RA run. But I have been doing it now for quite some time, so you pick up the skills. You know where to what you're looking for. It might be just replenishment you're going out for instead of actually finding new items, as an example. But these are all the skills that you can teach to the person who's going to be going out and doing these RA runs for you. So don't be scared to think that, you know, you can't outsource RA. It can be outsourced. You've just got to put the time and effort in to show those people how to do that for you as well. And that's exactly what we've done within the business. I'm hoping, you know, one day as our business grows and grows, you know, it'd be fantastic to have a fleet of guys that could go out to the stores, get those clearance items that I maybe can't get online or from my wholesaler as an example, get those special deals that we could sell within the company from an RA perspective. The next question would be, what sort of products do you look for when you're searching RA side of products finds? But so to answer that question, pretty much the same as online arbitrage, to be honest with you, I find with RA, obviously it depends on the local stores to you and what you can find as an example, but within our vicinity, we do a lot of sort of groceries, we do a lot of, category I mean by that, we do a lot of toys as an example, we do a lot of health and beauty products as an example. They seem to be really good areas, and home as well, kitchen, that side of things. So yeah, so pretty much it all, guys. It's there is some really good finds. We do get a lot of like the health and personal care items, your shampoos, your conditioners, things such as like that that we'll find. It might be groceries, coffees, things like that as an example. These are all the sort of items that you can find in the stores. Sometimes you'll get some great little finds, and some things I've just not been able to find through the wholesalers we've used, or even the online arbitrage side of things as well. So if I hadn't have been doing RA, then I would never have found those products because I've just not come across them. And I've been selling some of these products for years now, and that for me is a great thing. I probably have about 4 or 5 lines that if I could find them in a wholesaler, fantastic. Of course I would use that, but I've just not come across them. So I've continued to sell these items and source them from a retail arbitrage find because. Okay, so we still use retail arbitrage in our business, still to this day, because some of the best finds are still retail arbitrage finds. So, of course, I'm going to continue to get those profitable lines and keep them in the business. I haven't been able to find some lines at all on online arbitrage or by doing, wholesale that we've added to the company now as well. But that's why I keep RA as a supplement to our wholesale and also OA business now. We've grown, so you need to be able to grow. You need more depth in lines and so on and so forth. So that's why we've moved into OA and wholesale, of course, to make that happen. But I won't give up on RA because it's still a profitable stream of revenue, which really helps my business. And like we've mentioned earlier in the video, it's also a great stream to get started with if you're a beginner, or a stream to add if you've never tried it before. So, that's another reason why we do it. One of the items that I've currently got is, it's absolutely fantastic. I've tried to find it through the wholesale side of things and I just can't, or if I can, I still can't seem to find it at the price, that I could get it for from a retail prospect, which is quite daunting, really. I'm sure somewhere in some wholesaler that I've not come across yet, I'd be able to find that product from the manufacturer, maybe even better. But at this point in time, it's not somebody I can get in with like that. So I'm of course still going to use it from an RA perspective if that's all I can get it from. It's over the year, it's a fantastic line for us. It's something that goes all year round. I can always get it from the store. I've built a great rapport with a lot of these store managers now, and I think that's also key, guys. When you're out and about, just like you would do in a wholesale environment, a retail arbitrage environment is very much the same. You need to keep those great rapports with those store managers and things as well, because you never know. Some stores are more receptive to it than others. There's a couple of stores that I go into now and they know what we do. It's, I've been going in there for years now, and now they'll actually come to me and say, is there anything that you want, and we'll get it for you, more in-depth lines for you. I've talked about in a previous video, pie face, I don't know if it's the right thing to let you all in on that one, but Pie Face was, for us, a fantastic line through 2018. We first had it, I think, when it very first came out, and it was popular everywhere as well. And of course, we jumped on the bandwagon and had it then. Kind of died out a little bit for where we could get it from and so on and so forth. So we'd stopped selling it. But then it just so happened that one of the Retail Arbitrage stores that we use locally got that particular product in, and they were selling it, for £4.99, which was absolutely fantastic. If you found it cheaper than that, that's absolutely great. But for me, I couldn't find it anywhere cheaper, and it allowed me to still get a great profit margin on that as well. I think we were selling it throughout November and December of 2018, Q4, and we were selling it at about £15 a pop. And we went through 285 units of that particular line between November and December. Now, I honestly feel like I could have sold more of that particular line through that period, but there was a little bit of restraint on my side about, how in depth, how much stock we got and so on and so forth. And it was also, once I decided to go really in on it, we couldn't get the stock as quickly then, because they ordered it for me and we'd be able to go collect it from the stores. But, the issue then was I should have probably gone deeper earlier. And that's things you learn, it's all a learning curve. And that's what I love about what we do. You're always learning. You can always learn new tricks just by listening to other sellers, or, that's why I do what I do. That's why we do the videos for, guys. It's to help people out, and if we can help people grow, absolutely fantastic. Or it might just be a little bit of inspiration that you require. Different things have done it for me over time. There's still things that I watch videos on and think, wow, why didn't I think of that? Hopefully it helps you out if you need it. We do have a website, by all means, which we do offer support and things like that through as well. So you can check us out on www.onlinearbitragefasttrack.com, and on there you'll find a list of services that help online arbitrage sellers. And we do have a course coming very soon on RA. Okay guys, so that's the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching right through to the very end. If you're still with me now, please give me a thumbs up and a big subscribe as well if you're not already doing so. If you want to get in touch with me, please leave a comment, or you can also find me on Instagram under the name of Amazon Fueled by Success, or you can find me on Facebook by the same name but just Fueled by Success instead. But that's it, guys. Get in contact, keep pushing forward, guys. That's the main thing. You just got to keep pushing forward. We'll all get there. And let me know how you all get on with RA, because that's what it's all about at the end of the day. See you in the next video.